Bohemia with Bohemian Stars and Ocean Heart readings, and we are back. It's been hours, but this is actually an early night. Um, our days and nights are reversed, as I've mentioned before, with Baby Magic's sleep schedule. She's a supreme night owl, so this is going to bed early for her. So I know a lot of y'all might not be up this late on a Wednesday night or early this Thursday morning, but I'm gonna go ahead and finish the Beltane reading, the business and pleasure reading. It is not finances and sex. Somebody's been copying my stuff, y'all. It's business and pleasure, okay? No generic cereal version here. So we left off with number 4. So if you're just hopping on this one and you haven't seen the previous video, you can go to the video just before this to see all the 4 options. So this will be from the pleasure portion of number 4, and then a little Beltane surprise that connects with the pick of cards, okay? And so I just wanted to make sure that I finished this out for you guys. We read the business portion on the first video before I had to click off earlier, and now we'll get into the sensual side of things. So happy Beltane, happy May Day. Happy Taurus season, and we're going to get into it. So for those of you who chose number 4, it was the rose geranium oil. What is going on with the sex life, information, insights, suggestions that we have to get it popping? So we have definitely some wild times because we got the kinky card, the wild burlesque card. Look at all the lips and the roses. But then we also have Marie Antoinette and this candle that says, but first let me take a selfie. And you also have the inner self. So it's a good time to center yourself in your own like practices, your own sexual life, and really listen to what you need in your personal dynamic without projecting onto your partner. With Oba reverse, Oba connects with balanced relationships. It's a very Libran kind of energy, you know, being a good parent, being a good business partner, being a good partner, and like really taking care of others and focusing on everyone else. But with it reversed, there could be doing that too much, so where there could be like resentment building up, or maybe you feel like incomplete if you're not getting certain reactions or like exact kind of roles played out by your partner. And so it's about like, and we have the 9 of Cups here too. 9 of Cups is about self-love and kind of filling yourself up so that when you do give out to others, you don't feel drained or you don't feel like betrayed if they don't happen to react in a certain way that you were hoping for. The song Lights On by FKA Twigs is actually right along that path. It says, when I trust you, we can do it with the lights on. It talks about like shying away and being nervous. And, you know, if you watch her music and you know her as an artist, she does a lot of things out there that are very sexual, sensual. You know, she's a dancer, she uses her body, but at the same time, we can have that dynamic and still have our insecurities, still have our sensitivities, or want a person when we're one on one to kind of earn that space with us. And I feel like it's good for you to maintain that. But it really is good for you to also know like your where you end and the other person begins kind of energy, because then you can kind of get rid of any of those you know, kind of like what is it, codependency things that start to develop. Sometimes it just happens without us even noticing it in our relationships, and then, you know, we end up being frustrated with each other. So this could be something that you can work out. The dynamic of independence and codependence could be fun themes to go to. You might go to extremes of them in the bedroom, or just play out those kind of dynamics. And like for some of you, like jealousy games, or even like subservient, like who's the head of the house and who's the servant in the house, and like all these different kinds of roles. It might be a fun way to play those out in your sexual life, because that's where they're showing up. But this is making sure that you know like what are your sensitive points. So instead of just waiting until like a partner triggers them, or, you know, outside forces, and then getting mad at that person and projecting onto them, it's kind of sitting with yourself and learning, what do you love about yourself, where are you working on your self-love, so that you can communicate it. Because this song is, she's communicating to her partner about what doesn't work for her, or what her boundaries are, and what she needs to be achieved in order to feel comfortable. So we have coconut rough, right? So don't be afraid if it's like, not perfection. I think you guys, in some ways, you might really pride yourself, like you have your lingerie, your look, or like Scorpios are very put together when it comes to their sexual life. A lot of times they're either a complete hot mess or they're very put together, right? But they like to have that performance, the whole seduction from beginning to end. They like to have control. They like to know what's going to go on. They like to be able to just like pin you to the wall with a gaze and know exactly the reaction they're going to elicit from you. And so you might have to relinquish a little bit of control, even just for yourself, so that you can find out, more freedom. Because whenever we're kind of putting a lot of control on others, even if it's fun, like sometimes that might be fun to explore, but whenever we're doing that too much, we also hold ourselves to that now, right? So we can't be too free if we're controlling the whole situation. So this says, true friends who are both candid and rugged can also be the most honest, even if they're a bit rough around the edges or a bit of a storyteller. Seek out a friend who best fits the description during periods of depression or emotional hurt. It's okay to feel down, and it's safe to let others know when you do. It's time to do some soul searching. Perhaps you could do some healing on a karmic or past life level. Listen to your inner voice. It will tell you what you need to do. I access my inner self safely and confidently in order to transform my being to a higher level. So some of you, it is going to be, you might have the opportunity to have a loving, or a respectful, sexual relationship with a friend. This definitely sounds like a Sagittarius that they're describing. It could be Aquarius too. Candid, rugged, a little honest, rough around the edges, a bit of a storyteller. Some Geminis too kind of have that rough edge to them. Kind of they reflect their polar opposite of Sagittarius. So that could be a possibility. Some of you might have like Libra or Cancer or even Scorpio on your fifth or eighth house, where it's hard for you to have sexual interactions without getting emotionally entangled. Maybe you have your moon there, or like your Saturn or something. And so you might be going into a time where you have to learn to do like tend to your sexual health just because you want to, and just because it feels good for you to do so. So I think there's like a whole like array of energies you have to figure out. Like there's no wrong answer. It's just kind of like, but what do you want? Because otherwise your partners are going to keep stepping on the mines in the landfill, or the minefield, I guess, because you haven't sorted all that out maybe. So we have your wish is my command with the Nine of Cups. And again, this is getting to the point where you can be indulgent, where you can give in to opulence. We have fecundity, which is such a weird word for like, but it's like abundance, lushness, fertility, and just like she's holding like apples, which is like a sign of like the love goddess. It's very big in love magic, apple magic, and roses in her hand. And you picked rose geranium, which is a good stand-in. If rose oil is too expensive for you to get for magical workings, you can a lot of times substitute rose geranium. But yeah, so it's like I definitely feel it touched on past lives, and I feel like that some of you definitely have Scorpio moon or Scorpio south node, and so you've had a lot of, you might have Taurus there as well. You've had a lot of past lives that were very like indulgent and very just based on physical pleasure and sexual energies, but maybe in the past lives you had a partner or a stable relationship that you were able to like, it was safe enough that you were able to explore all those things, or the social dynamics were right. And so now you have all this sexual energy, but maybe you don't have the social constructs that allow that, or you just don't feel like you have the confidence built up into you this lifetime to express it. So, like a lot of the other readings, there's a huge energy in the sacral chakra here. I definitely see you being able to. Hi, artsy girl Marilyn. Hugs, thank you. Up late too, huh? Or early. Yes, so it's like be daring, wild burlesque. Now, for those of you, I'm seeing some people you want to explore like, being the burlesque dancer, oh, what's it called? You know how they would dress up, flapper times and stuff and be on stage. Like you want to put a little bit of a show on. You might want to put on Moulin Rouge or something, and, just kind of express yourself and prance around. And this is a time to indulge in that. It's a time to express that side of yourself, to start encouraging yourself, even if you're single, right? Maybe especially if you're single, to allow yourself, buy that lingerie or buy that whatever to you is sexy. If it's a certain cut of t-shirt or whatever, if you just have a certain pair of sneakers you want to wear and that's your sexy thing, or some waist beads or something, I don't know. A certain hair color, you're like, man, if my hair was cut like this, I know I would feel good. Like it would get me there. It would help me go into that energy. So it's definitely a time of expression, right? The Nine of Cups, we're full, we feel good about ourselves. Like, look at, you know, they're fabulous. Look at that hat. Look at that outfit. It's like when Aladdin gets the fancy prince outfit from the genie, right? So it's like, start granting yourself some of your wishes. That's what it is. Start having the confidence to ask for what you really want, but also to like allow yourself to have it. You know what I mean? Don't wait until you have a partner to try a certain, I don't know, this is what I'm getting, like a certain lube or a certain sexy thing to wear, or, you know, a certain something you want to watch or whatever. I'm feeling for a lot of you, you want to find the balance between the stuff that's kind of rough and a little bit wild and spontaneous, and the stuff that looks like really artsy, really cute, really well done, like erotica kind of stuff, that kind of nature. So yeah, the energy is your partner will catch up. If they're not hip to the jive, your partner will catch up. You don't have to feel like just because you're having a sexual awakening for some of you that like, okay, well now I said I have this, so now I can't put any boundaries up, and now my partner is just gonna keep, you know, being on the pedal to the metal. It's like, no, you can still put your boundaries. That's part of the process. You can be fertile and luscious and juicy and amazing and totally not want to sleep with anyone else. That's totally okay. Sacral activation massage Reiki was great for you. Yes, anything connecting with this. This is so sensual. This is basically the meeting point of Scorpio and Taurus with some Pisces thrown in and some Libra energy. So this, like, you guys have lived very indulgent, like beautiful, artistic, like hedonistic, indulgent lives in the past. So, you know, it's like just tap back into some of that inner self, that confidence. Allow yourself to start expressing this in certain ways. And like I said, it might just be for you, like that Scorpio energy. Scorpio likes to go to work with like the naughtiest lingerie underneath and then look plain as hell outside or something, or just like real professional and don't nobody know, right? Scorpio likes to do things like that. Like maybe they'll get it on with just one really specific piece of jewelry on, and then they'll put that jewelry on when they're in a place that it would be taboo to think of those sexual things, right? So it's like this kind of playing with you, connecting with what feels sexy to you, and adorning yourself and appreciating yourself, and starting to let that flow and starting to ask for what you want without having attachment to it, you know, just having it in your mind that you're going to get fulfilled one way or the other. You're going to see if the partner wants to do it. If not, you're still going to get it done one way or the other. And the same way, it's okay for you to say no and put boundaries up, because, you know, your partner can figure it out themselves, or it could be for another time or place. So don't be afraid to have people wait. Don't feel like you have to rush into the next level of sexual activity with your partner or anything like that at this time. So your herb that you got was hibiscus flower, which is like my absolute favorite flower. It's so passionate, and I actually make some love cookies that I use hibiscus in. Hopefully eventually I'll have them in the shop in a way. So yes, stay tuned. I already started formulating that too. Yes, but it's like so passionate. It's also very protective though, and it's very I don't know, hibiscus is very grounding. It's so it's like a fiery protection. It's also good for like family and like abundance and all these things, but it's also so sensual and just kind of blossoms the center of your sacral chakra. So it's just like this amazing flower. I feel like you can study the properties of hibiscus and learn from it for like your whole life, and you'll be learning more things. And of course, the different colors have different meanings. It's edible. You can put it in tea. So you guys might really, really want to work with hibiscus. If you pick this one, this could be something that will help you tune into that energy, you know, when you want to get into that vibe with yourself. Absolutely look to use rose geranium and hibiscus. Now let's look at the astrology dice for you. Oh goodness. Okay, that's Gemini down there. Oh no, I just kicked it way underneath this whole production. It was on Gemini though, and we have Jupiter in the 10th house. All right, so there are some Capricorns. We've had Sagittarian energy in every single reading, so go Sagittarius, because y'all making the rounds in the zodiac, as per always. Same with the gems. But no, I think Sagittarians and Geminis really do allow that. Like, we give you guys, we crack on y'all for, slanging it around a lot. But at the same time, I think Gemini and Sagittarians are very often responsible for helping people open up sexually or have the opportunities to discover new things about themselves. They're very curious, playful, experimental signs. And you have this in the 10th house though. So some of you some of you are having some little clandestine affairs in the workplace. Scorpios, I've noticed, love to do that. Again, those taboo things, right? We talked about wearing some, sexy things under the work clothes. So some of you are definitely experiencing that and are just like, you know what, it's a small town. Oh well, I have to bend the rules a little bit. So a lot of, again, there's that energy of traveling too. A lot of people that read this, you might be the Gemini versus Sagittarius. So maybe there could be a lot of phone sex, communication, texting, sextings, all that kind of stuff. And then when you can travel and see this person. It could be because of work or career that you can't be around this person. Maybe they had to relocate because of work or something. So for those of you who are looking for someone, you might meet them through travel or through your career path, especially if you are expanding in your travels or your business is going from local to worldwide. Or some people, they start kind of a global business at first and then they kind of start focusing on their local surroundings a bit more. So in those changes, you will have more run-ins potentially with partners. I definitely think there should be a lot of partners available to you. I think it's just you deciding how close you want to be with people at this time. For those of you who are single, I'm not seeing that you need to rush into a partner romantically or marriage-wise, but there is the ability to have intimacy. So there's kind of learning that there's different levels of intimacy that we have with others, and that could be emotional intimacy, that could be financial or sexual intimacy. And I think you're going to be discovering and kind of figuring out your boundaries for what that looks like. All right, so you have encouragement to, you have a lot of self-love or the potential for a lot of self-love right now, and as long as that's in place, it's totally okay if you want to go and experience these different things. But I definitely do think some of you are going to be I'm like seeing someone being like, okay, let me go ahead and get that movie package access on my TV because I'm going to have this erotic art night. I'm just going to start exploring these indulgences that I've wanted to and being a bit more intimate with myself. And of course, we have kinky, and it came up with Gemini, so they're the handcuff and all that kind of crew. All right, so that is your pleasurable reading. Now I'm gonna do, so the surprise is that I am going to take, I'm just gonna do these little candles since we don't have time to like do a whole 7-day dressing, but absolutely you can always use any candles you have available in witching to help you. And I'm gonna actually set this up so that I use the oil from that you picked and dress a candle, your little symbolization of your, or symbolizing, I'm so tired, y'all, I'm sorry, of the maple, the bonfire of Beltane, and then I will put your herbs around it as well. And you can, collectively all channel in, support each other to manifest the positive things of your reading and burn off the negative things of your reading. So I want to incorporate a lot more ritual into this channel. My other channel, I talked about that a lot. I always showed my altars. I did a lot more of the magical teachings and things. And I would love to, once I get things settled in my office right now, which is halfway full of boxes, empty boxes, I do want to set up like a subscriber fam altar that I show you guys if you guys want to send in things for it. And as we go through our different readings and we're working through the different things on this channel, because we do have some deep picker cards, we can light a candle there and just hold space for everybody and kind of have like a communal energy spot for everyone to interact with, which I think would be very cool, and, kind of help the collective, help us bond a little bit. So those are my ideas. Let me know what you guys think about that. But let me go ahead and set up this little ritual symbolism for you guys. And we're going to do it right now. So move all these cards. This is the book, by the way, for the Tarot Sutra. So if I think it's a deck worth getting, if you guys are wondering if you should get it, it's the descriptions on the cards, as you've seen, they're not too explicit, so it's kind of, you know, you can still do regular readings, but it has a lot of information on looking at things from the pleasure point of view and your partnership and stuff. So I do recommend this tarot deck. All right. So we're gonna go down the line. We have all of your herbs here. Get the matches. Have everything prepared, and I'm just gonna use your oils and dress your candles, and you guys can have that time and space to kind of join in together. So hopefully you like this idea. So we're gonna start with those of you that did the Queen of Sheba, and I'm gonna dress your candle. It's like really quiet in the building, I'm noticing now. Okay. I'm just going to do the bottom a little bit to make it stick. Perfect. And let's see, for number 1 we had yarrow. So feel free to look up these oils and herbs. All right, and then we'll do for number 2. Let me close this one. Number 2 had Jezebel oil. And so I'm going to go ahead and dress the Jezebel candle. Do you guys ever do this? This is like the bit of Aries in my chart. The inner pyro. All right. Make it flare up on there. Okay, and number 2 had the Jezebel root, so we're going to put Jezebel root around it. Okay. It's hard to see. I think I have it. You mean when I'm putting the oil on? Let's see, number 3, we had the road opening oil. And I'm using different fingers for each oil. So I'm doing above and below on the candle. Everyone has a different way of dressing, and I do it in 3s around. Actually, I'm going to try to reuse a candle I already used because I'm going to blow it out. Or a match, I mean. There we go. Okay, that was hot. I'm going to have to use a new one. Sorry, I mumble to myself when I'm doing things too, so. Okay. And for number 4, we have licorice root. So put all of your energy of your commands into your licorice root. There's a ton of pieces of it here, so enough for everybody. And this is the first time I've done it in this way, but I just really, you know, some people might not be able to be out of the closet and do any ritual, you know, things like that. And I just want to have a way to have a physical representation and kind of help burn some of that energy for you guys. All right. Oh, sorry. For those of you who did number 4, which is the rose geranium. So I'm just doing a very basic dressing with just the oil and then surrounding it with the herbs since the candles are so small and they burn quickly. It's little eco-friendly matches. Okay. And you guys, for number 4, I had hibiscus. So I'm going to put some hibiscus around for you. sure I don't knock that candle off. Okay. Excuse my hand. Okay. And now, getting oils everywhere. Now I'm going to go ahead and light each of them. Let me see if I can get a better view. Sorry, I have a bendy tripod, so bear with me for a moment as I reconfigure. Okay, that'll be a little bit closer. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and light them. So I'll start with number 1. We'll go down the line. No. Okay. I have a ceiling fan on. I'm going to turn that off in a second. Turn it off now. Yay! Getting oil everywhere. Okay, maybe I should just leave it alone. I do want to grab a book. I'm just going to kind of give everyone the time to tune into this, so I'm going to try to just kind of be quiet, let them burn down. For those just tuning in, these are the pick a card options, oils and herbs, and they're set to a candle for Beltane and for May Day, whatever you want to celebrate for this energy. And so I just wanted to give a collective way for everyone to have a bit of a ritual in case they couldn't at home. We've left it very bare basics so that everyone can connect with it in line with their own path. And so that's what we're doing. And I'm just kind of being quiet and giving you guys space to focus and connect with your candle as it burns down. Hi, CP. We're getting down to the bottom of the burns here. I tend to let them take, just see what they'll do with the rest of the work. So I'll let them go as long as it's burning safely. And I will show you what it looks like so that you can read the wax or the remains yourselves as well, as that's very important for me when I do workings. Yeah. Glad you could join, CB. Number 3 is still holding on there. And there it goes. And that's my neighbor's baby. If you can hear that, that's not baby magic. That's why I'm not getting up. That's the neighbor's baby. We have some new neighbors and we haven't met them yet. All right, so it looks like some pretty good burns. I'm gonna go ahead and take you off the tripod and try to get you in some lighting that you can see. So here is number 1, what your burn looked like. That's if you picked the Queen of Sheba oil. Thank you, CB. That is number 2. We see the, where's my little witchy thing? My little pointer. Here, I'm going to use an incense stick. So we see the wick going that way. This one, it looks like the wick is pretty much all burnt out there. Number 2, the wick is pointing that way, and there's a little pool of wax there, just to help you with the colors. I'm sorry the lighting's not the best right now. And number 3 here, you still have some wax around. Let me see. Your wick is pretty much burnt down. And number 4 here, your wick is going that way. And there's a bit of wax pool just straight down. What I'm gonna do for you, I'm sorry, let's see if I can get more direct. There we go. So again, number 1 here with the yarrow. Number 2, there you go. Now you can see that wax a little better. Number 3. And number 4. Alright, so that's corresponding to part 1. If you didn't see it, the choices there that we had, the Queen of Sheba oil, Jezebel oil, what is it? The road opening oil, and the rose geranium. So I hope you guys liked that style. Let me know, what are you guys thinking? Did that feel good? I feel some really great energy coming off. You could see the candles interacting sometimes, but some pretty good burns that went. So for those of you who are my little witchlings that are watching, you definitely, when you're doing the candle magic, you want to read everything. Excuse me, the smoke that comes off, the flames, the way the wax pools. If you continuously watch it, you can actually, work with the candle. If you start seeing signs of trouble, you can do things to help affect. Now that's how I work it. Some people say no. And hoodoo tradition, yeah, you do. You get in there, you help. If you see something that needs to be corrected energetically by what the candle's telling you. But these were all pretty good burns, very consistent, burned all the way straight down. So we got some really good energy flowing, y'all. Let me see what that last message said. You picked group 1 earlier, and it's 2:22 right now. Hey, 2:22. I don't even know what time it is for me right now. I think it must be like 4:22 here. I'm Midwest. Yeah, so what did you guys think? Did you enjoy that? You're welcome. Yes. Definitely, and everyone who watches this afterwards, let me know. You have this for reference. You can go and connect with that vibe if you need to get back into the headspace of the things that we worked through this reading and connect with it. 122 in California. I miss California. Yes, so I'm over here. I have this book, Sex and Spirit, an illustrated guide to sacred sexuality, ecstasy, transcendence, ritual, taboo, symbols, and tantra. Let's see. Do you guys want an option? Should I do like bibliomancy? For number one, what should you look into? Let's see. Okay, I'll do it for fun, you know. Tantric principles. You're like, yes. Tantric. Okay, let me slide this tripod back up so I can try to get some height so I can get the book in the shot. That's the cord. I plugged it in this time so it wouldn't die on me. Alright, getting notifications from other YouTubers. Hey, hey. I will be releasing these into nature. So we didn't really have that any wax. So the little wax bits I'll take out and then I will put them out by our tree where we nurture our relationship with the fairies. So it will be disposed of nicely and magically. So tantric principles for number one. That's a little additional if you're still watching. We have tantric teaching. We got some illustrations here. Initiation into that. So that's something to look into for you to study and get into. It says web or weaving. So some of you might use the web to research it, or spider medicine or energy could be important for you. Maybe some little black widows out there. Let's see. For those of you who chose number two, which is the Jezebel oil, what do we have from the Sex and Spirit message book? Let's just go all out. The Song of Solomon. Are you kidding me? What you guys know? Like we talked about the Queen of Sheba and then Jezebel. Those were both like biblical. That's so funny. And the Song of Solomon, who is actually Queen of Sheba, number one's, not spouse. I guess they did marry, right? Even though she went back to her own empire. So this, yes, the Song of Solomon. So just in case you don't know, the Bible is a book of spells, and that's why they're so controlling about things. It's basically like if you think about how when you're initiated into a very serious path, you need to do things a specific way, and they don't want you mixing with other magics when you're really going highly initiated. Like that's why there's such strict things in there, and then of course the politics and all that stuff, but it's very magical. The Psalms, like the Song of Solomon, the Key of Solomon, very, very magical. The Queen of Sheba taught him a lot of the mysteries out of Africa, the same that Mary learned when she went to Egypt, and things like that. So this is definitely could go into some sexual magic here. Looking into the Song of Solomon, it also talks about Krishna and Radha. Folk songs, ancient folk songs as a dialogue between two lovers. So that could be something that becomes significant. Time for you to sleep, love and light. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for connecting. And this will be up. Good night. Sweet dreams. Yes. So this will definitely teach you how to compliment somebody, right? The Song of Solomon's, there's very poetic. Poetry could be something to tap into for you. For number three, for those of you that chose the road opener, what's your little passage from the Sex and Spirit? Something to go research or adapt into things. We have denial of the flesh. Was this the one? Y'all were the ones that got the hermit reversed, were you? I don't remember. So you might be like do this thing where you restrict before you give in. You could be the group, I can't remember now if you were the group that we talked about having the past lives of taking vows of celibacy, because we have clerical celibacy here. So you guys might have been that group. I think that was also number two. So some of you might be looking at more than one of the book options because I'm feeling the energies kind of merge, which is okay. And this thing is just wonky. It's like late night. So yes, or you might be coming out of the denial of the flesh and embracing more and still have some things to release. But you might find some fun practices that have to do with restriction and denial of pleasure, not giving into it right away kind of thing, all right? Number four, for those of you who chose rose geranium, we're going to do a bibliomancy from this book. and see what else you should research, get into. Number 4 for rose geranium. It says illustration and instruction. Okay. Oh, look, the sexual positions prescribed by the Kama Sutra. Right? So, erotic instruction with imagery is something to connect with you. And it's saying that it can happen in a lot of different ways. This is an ivory sculpture, there's paintings, there's books. So, it doesn't have to be like, typical pornography. It's talking about it being like visual poems basically. So a little bit, find fun ways to get some instruction and some ideas. It's talking about the Roman poet Ovid's Art of Love book. Let's see. Yes, so hopefully you can see here, you can pause and get some ideas for, just things to research and to go into on this subject. So I hope you guys had a good Beltane and have some good things to explore. And this just felt like a fun way to do the reading and try to incorporate a little bit of witchiness for you guys and try to hold space for those that might not be able to do something themselves ritualistically. So let me know what you thought. I really liked connecting the herbs and oils to your particular pick a card and your choice and your energy, and then letting it kind of come full circle at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and click off now and maybe go to bed. I don't know. I was going to do some live reads, but I think it's a strange hour to do that. So, yes, let me know what you guys thought. I appreciate you tuning in, and I hope that you like this, little experience that we had. So let me go ahead and click out because it's like a long goodbye. And sweet dreams, I'll talk to you soon. Or maybe you're awake when you watch this actually, because it's not always going to be live. But anyways, so good. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Marilyn.